What's up? It's your man, The Real Dill, again with another video. This video is about Minneapolis, Minnesota's racial problem. The real deal on cold. First of all, hey, happy Father's Day to you fathers out there, man. I hope you're enjoying yourself. I hope you're kicking it hard. You understand what I'm saying? Because, you know, you deserve it. We only get this one day, but being a father is 365 days a year, man. You know, that's the piece of the puzzle that's missing. But however, let me do what I do. I got to get down and dirty because I'm still on cold. I stay on cold. Look, Minneapolis, Minnesota's racial problem is a result of black folks migrating to Minnesota back in the 80s. Look, when you have an overwhelmingly white state like Minnesota is, and prior to the 80s, you had just a handful of black folks, that really wasn't a threat. You understand what I'm saying? That really wasn't a threat. But once those 80s hit and these impoverished cities like, you know, Detroit, Chicago, Gary, and, you know, St. Louis, and even as far down as Memphis, man, was leaving those impoverished cities, man, to find themselves a better life. You know, it was fine when a few of us was coming up there to work. You know what I'm saying? They ain't have no problem with that. But then when you started fucking with they white women, you niggas started letting these white girls hard choose you. A lot of you niggas started putting them out on the street. You know what I'm saying? Beating them down, taking their money, taking them away from daddy. It became a problem. Then when that dope game hit up there, you know, you had a lot of niggas come up, you know, from these different cities, man, with the dope, you know, with the dope. And being as it was wide open, that city wasn't used to that. It wasn't used to that. Then, you know, you had a lot of the sisters, you know, coming up there to get on the welfare rolls and the Section 8 rolls. You know what I'm saying? Bringing their kids with them. And when a single mother come with her kids, sooner or later, the baby daddy coming up there, and more than likely the motherfucker still on some gang banging shit or on that dope game. You know what I'm saying? So now it became a problem up there. Now the police department, you know, they started adjusting the way they police to all of these black folks coming up here. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's all it is. That's all it is. And then not only that, you know, Minnesota is a sanctuary state. You know, the Vietnamese started coming there back in the 70s. Then in the 90s, you started having the Somalians. Everybody remember that movie Black Hawk Down? Then you had that genocide during the Clinton administration over there in Rwanda. You know, the Democratic Republic of Congo and that area over there. Then you had Eritrea and Ethiopia fighting over resources. So a lot of those displaced people found political asylum right in the city of Minneapolis. You know, so now you got this big ass melting pot here, you know what I'm saying? And you got all of these brothers, you know, from Chicago and Gary, you know, snatching up these white women, knocking them up, you know, and leaving them hanging, you know, and then the powers that be in Minnesota is we not gonna have this shit. So now you got the police department that's racially profiling brothers, shooting them down, beating them up. You get more beatings by the police department than you get men gunned down. You know, that's something we need to talk about too. You know what I'm saying? Because half the people that go to jail up in Minnesota, you know, you get arrested, 10 to 1, you going to jail with a headache. Because that's how they do. They put hands on them brothers up there, man. I remember, man, I got my ass kicked by the police up there. No, I've lived there for 22 years, so I know what I'm talking about. You know, but unfortunately, Philando Castile is a casualty of this war on the black man. And that's not the only high-profile case. A couple of years ago, Jamal Clark over there in North Minneapolis, he was shot while he was handcuffed. You know, now this is how they get on code there to protect the white woman. Is back in the 80s, they was very tough on domestic violence, even back then, before all these other states fell into line after OJ. When the police is called on a domestic call, you going to jail. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. You don't know how many stories I've heard over the years, man, how the police, Minneapolis Police Department, run up in your crib because your old lady called the police, and the argument really wasn't that serious. But if a neighbor hear you arguing, they calling the police. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're in a house or in an apartment. And when they come in, they coming in, and they more than likely they're going to whoop on the brother in front of his kids. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. It's like that. Now the police department, aligned with the United States government, are hiring these different nationalities to target black people. Now you look at a city like Minneapolis. It's a big melting pot. You got the largest Somalian community outside of Somalia in Minnesota. You know, you have a large Hispanic community, a large Asian community, you know, and the other Africans, the Nigerian, the Cameroons, the Congo, the Rwandans, and, you know, and all of those, you understand? And they're on the police force, you know, and they put in your ass quicker than those white boys do. The white boys just look now and just let, you know, the immigrants kick your ass, you know, but they're not going to do their own people like that because they respect their elders. They respect their women. They respect their children. You know, now you see how all of this shit is backfiring on the black community with this lawlessness that we've been going through for the past 50 years with this me, myself, and I shit, this reckless fucking, you know, this dope selling, this thugging, you know, it's all coming to a head right now, you know. And while you've been caught slipping these past years, these motherfuckers has been organizing and arming themselves to commit war on your black ass. Now you got all these women crying because their sons is victims of police brutality. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, motherfuckers my age is so embedded in this coon mentality, you know, because you figure that your only way into white society is with a white woman. Now you finding out the hard way, because sooner or later, them motherfuckers is coming for your biracial child, just like Miss Castile said. It's coming. What you gonna do? Because your child ain't even prepared for it. You know, because if you got a coon ass nigga that fuck with white women, his children gonna fuck with white women. You know, they gonna swirl. You know, that's Minneapolis racial problem. It's motherfuckers my age that came up there snatching up these white women. And white boys didn't say nothing. Now, you know how they react to it? By joining the police department. By joining the police department. That's how they get back at you. You know, and half of the people that you work with is Trump supporters now. Did you know that? Did you know that? Anyway, let me get out of here, man. You know, that's my take on Minneapolis, Minnesota's racial problem. Or should I say Minnesota's racial problem. You know, this is Real Deal on Cold. Anyway, let me get on up out of here, man. I'm your man, the Real Deal, out of the city of Gary, Indiana. Yeah, baby. Happy Father's Day, y'all. Peace.